Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, your home for comic books, movies, TV shows, and we typically feature a beer of the week. I'm Matt. With me, as always, is Lauren, and today we are talking The Last of Us Season 1. We are going to be recapping it for you, getting you ready for The Last of Us Season 2. We are finally here, folks. The 13th of April, we're getting some Pedro Pascal back. We're going to see what happens. Video game, folks, do not spoil it. Lauren does not know what's going on in the video game, so don't spoil it. And but we are going to spoil season 1. We are going to recap the episodes and talk about it. But first things first, we typically go over some news, what we've been reading or watching, and then go into our main topic. So that's what we'll be doing. We're going to talk about a little Galaxy Con Richmond real quick. That was last weekend. And like, subscribe, share, follow everywhere you can find Hops Geek News on social media, on podcasting platforms. That is where you can find us. Hit the notification button. Never miss an episode. And Lauren, hey, what's up? Are you giving me the pause motion?
No, I was writing down a list of all the graphics I have to create.
Well, let's talk, man. I assume you're not drinking a beer either. We're both not drinking beers at the moment.
I am drinking tea, but I have it in my Navarro glass because Pedro Pascal's on it, and I own nothing from The Last of Us. And I have a
Video games,
Mandalorian shirt on too.
You know, I have some Star Wars shirts on because we are talking Andor after.
I think I still have a Cordyceps beer in my fridge, but
oh yeah, I remember that beer. That was an interesting with the mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah,
from Practical. Weird.
That's why there's still one in my fridge. It was a little interesting, so we'll see how that ages.
Yeah, well,
not tonight though.
Let's talk some quick GalaxyCon real quick. Lauren and I were there at GalaxyCon Richmond this previous weekend. It was a good convention for us panel wise. We got to record some recap episodes of Daredevil with Megan from Vigilante Vibes. The three of us got to hang out. Lauren got to meet Micah from Tavern Geek for the first time. He's been on the show. My boy JT came out and shot video. So our panels should be up now on the YouTube. If you want to go check out our panels, we were booed. We were booed in a way that we said we are wrapping up the episode. And I can't get over this because as we were wrapping our panel up, people were booing in a way that they didn't want us to stop. And that never has happened before. It was kind of
It probably never will again.
And it will never, I peaked at that moment. I will never recreate that high again. So I'm going to ride it for as long as I can. But this is your first GalaxyCon, Lauren. So what were your thoughts? How do you think the weekend went?
I think the weekend went very well. I think it was quick. I think that it was panels like I've never experienced before. We were very apprehensive with it being so late. I'm used to 11 a.m. panels or noon panels, 4 o'clock.
10:15 p.m. panels. We were like, nobody's going to come.
Yeah. And people were there and people were hyped too. There was also no kids. So that's not something you usually see with no kids, but that late, it made sense. It was the most active panel I've seen because whenever we host panels, I always feel like we're very shout out something if you want to contribute.
Oh yeah, we were very interactive, getting people into it for sure.
Yeah, but it was like the first panel we did, we weren't even able to our whole plan was Matt, Megan, and I were going to draft our superhero teams and we were going to let people choose who had the best team, but we were going to break down who's the best speedster, who's power, and it turned into one of these well, what is Scarlet Witch considered, or what is Spider-Man considered?
It quickly devolved into chaos. I should have seen that coming.
It took on a life of its own, which I thought was great. I hope that as long as the audience thought it was great, I feel like that's all that matters. Now, if people walked away and are like, "What the hell did we just do?" Maybe that's not the best. But if they were like, "What the hell did we just do?" and they showed up the next night, like some people did, then that's
actually like half the crowd showed up the next night, which is pretty awesome. And I even got a really, really cool. I left it downstairs, but there was somebody who was at our panel. They came on to the show actually, and we're talking Daredevil with us. He was dressed as Daredevil and his compadre was dressed as Spider-Man, which, dude, they crushed those outfits. And then the next time they were Robin and Nightwing. Well, they brought me a 3D printed Batarang from Nightwing that he had made for me. And it was the coolest thing ever, man. It was, nobody's ever gifted. I very weird about receiving gifts, but he was like, "Hey, I made this after we talked last night." And it was really meaningful like that. That's really cool. I like receiving gifts. That's kind of my love language because I don't know how to tell somebody I appreciate them. So I give gifts and I receive gifts. That's just me because I don't like being touched. I'm not an affectionate person. So just seeing somebody being like, "Hey man, I made you this after seeing your panel last night." That's going to feed my ego. I already have an ego. Let's be honest, man. I am full of myself and to the moon after this one. And it was really cool. People were really into what it was one of those classic conversations that you have with your friends. That's why I wanted to talk about it was, hey, let's just talk superheroes. and everybody was down to talk superheroes, and we did a lot of really cool stuff. But it was dope. It was awesome. I had a really good time,
Yeah,
and we got
we
to
went
meet
to
Vincent
some awesome
D'Onofrio.
panels. Yeah, Rainn
Then
Wilson had a great panel too. He's pretty funny.
yes, and we also got to interview once more our friend Brian O'Halloran.
Yep.
I love that man. It's always a good time. I brought him some beer this time. We got to review beer. We talked about the floor a little bit, and we talked about Lauren wanted to punch an Easter bunny. He said that he doesn't recommend that,
We are
but
going to be doing an Easter episode. We're going to be doing Mallrats because Easter's on 420 this year. So we were asking him some questions, some behind the scenes stuff about Mallrats. But yeah, we'll be
yeah,
dropping that episode if it's not already
it
out by
was it
now.
was already out. We
But he
dropped
was,
it.
I'm not going to lie, we had a couple beers before that interview.
Oh, I was feeling real good. There was yeah, it was fun, man. It's so much fun getting to talk to him, and I wasn't sure if he would remember who we were, but we was like two friends that hadn't seen each other in a little bit,
Yeah, he
and
was
it was
very
really
sweet.
cool. And always a big fan. Go watch him on the floor. He's crushing on the floor. And
And
we
he
did
said there was
meet.
people that were recognizing him from that, not from
Yeah,
Clerks, which
I posted
blows
in the
my mind.
Roosevelt's insiders page, and yeah, so it
Well, he
was
even said that.
amazing. Well, yeah, people recognize him from the floor. The Roosevelt's insiders page is going off about, oh, it's the guy from the floor because I posted a picture, and it was just surreal. And I'm like, you guys, what? The guy from the yeah, well, yeah, but you don't know what he's actually from? Like, what?
Well, and
It
then
was
you
cool.
had me watch it the first night I got there, and I made the comment. I'm like, why are they not mentioning that Brian's an actor when they're mentioning these people that have been on
Yeah,
reality shows
that's
before?
right.
And he goes, I've had friends texting me that, like, why aren't they mentioning you? You're more famous than these other people. Which, yeah, I think he is.
He is. I don't know who
Yeah.
these people from The Bachelor are, but Brian is in a lot of movies, man. He shaped my childhood, if you will, which is even crazier
Wow,
to
that's
think
pretty
about.
bad.
Well, like my teenage years, right? I mean,
Oh, okay. I was
Mallrats,
gonna say I
Clerks,
didn't
all
watch
that.
any
It was
movies of his
Mallrats,
till I was
Clerks, and all that. It was
16.
my teenage years. That's
Okay, yeah, I was
yeah.
16 when I watched Clerks.
So it was just a surreal moment, but yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was
we'll
fun
have
getting to see everybody. We hit breweries, and you'll be able to go check our playlist out and check our recaps and all that
yeah,
kind of
we'll have
stuff.
more videos coming out. I haven't even done the official video yet, so
Womp
all
womp.
that will be coming out
It will
within the
be.
next week or so.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and take us into what you have been reading lately?
So Hellverine is continuing. They've been doing a lot of Hellverine, a lot of consist or a lot of they've been doing Hellverine very consistently. And it's been really good. So we got to meet, you guys aren't going to believe who showed up in Hellverine. Mephisto. So Mephisto's there. Hellverine is fighting him. If anybody doesn't know who Hellverine is, it's not actually Wolverine. It's Wolverine's son, Akihiro, who was killed by Sabretooth in the Ben Percy run that ended last year. But then he was resurrected by Bagra Ghul, a demon, and he's been struggling with it, but he's still got like good in him. He's still got like a semblance of his dad. So I've really been loving that run. And you don't have to read the 50 issues of Benjamin Percy's run. You should, but you don't have to. Another comic this week is Hornsby and Halo came out this week. That one is another Ghost Machine one, so obviously I love that. But this one was really cute because like the kids are kind of learning that they're a demon and an angel, but they're not really accepting it, and they're still kids, and they're acting like kids, and they're treating this like celestial being like another grown up. And he's like, "Ugh, would you kids just stop acting like this?" Is like, I get that they're a demon and angel, but they're still like 12, so they're acting like they're 12, and it was actually really funny. And then the other one I reviewed this week was Daredevil Cold Day in Hell, which I know you
Oh
read this week
yeah,
too.
I got a chance as well to review that. So what are your thoughts on that?
That was fantastic. So they announced it at New York Comic Con, and I was in the room not knowing what they were going to do. So that was really cool to see it. And they showed us some clips and everything. But I don't know if they didn't mention it or if I just didn't remember. This is like old man Daredevil. This is not
Right.
young, Matt in his 30s or whatever, like going out. Like this is old Daredevil, lost his extra heightened senses. So he's
Yep.
just this old blind man. But it's really good because then like it's like war has like hit everywhere. They're all just trying to struggle, they're all just trying to live. And then the whole world comes crashing down and Matt has to do what he can do, what he's able to do. And some other people show up, and there was one person hanging on a wall that I was surprised to see hanging on a wall. Not dead,
Oh yeah,
but hanging on a
oh
wall.
man, there were some surprises. So did you catch the little Easter egg about the Barton crew or whatever who are like watching over the
Hmm.
city? I thought that was
Oh,
clever.
speaking of Barton, we didn't even mention this in our past Daredevil episode. So this is what we
Oh
messed up
yes,
on.
yes, 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 yes.
So, I don't think it's not a spoiler to the plot at all. But the
No.
stepdad or potential stepdad for Kate Bishop was
He's a
the
swordsman, he's
political,
active.
yeah. And I
And I
swear I
thought that
saw
was
him at
awesome.
another point too, with like because they mentioned something about a swordsman like vigilante at one point. I
Yeah, well,
thought, and I
they
thought
showed the
that was
video.
him.
Yeah, and it was him.
Okay, good. Because then was like explaining to Josh because Josh didn't watch Hawkeye, and then when he showed up, I'm like, that definitely had to be him. Then okay, so
Yeah,
back on
it was
track.
him. Yep, and I thought that was awesome, but yeah, back on track. There was some that I liked that he was an older Daredevil, and I also liked the other cameo that we got in the surprise death.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna tell people who it is.
Right? No, no, no.
Uh, but the person at the end of the comic who was just hanging on the wall, what the heck? Wow. I was not expecting
And
that.
at first I thought the villain was a specific person, and then I'm like, no, I think they're just old. I thought it was Dare, or I thought it was Dare. I didn't think it was Daredevil. I thought it was Deadpool.
Oh, yeah, I
And then
didn't
I
know
was
well,
like,
I had
oh,
no
I guess
idea.
it's just an old person, and they're all wrinkly.
Yeah, and then they said that person's name, and I was like, "Oh, that is unexpected." So I'm into this. It's only going to be 3 issues, but I'm into it, and so I can't wait for that. Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I thought it was great. Charles Soule's back in the driver's seat for those of you guys who don't know from Marvel. But did you
And
read or
Steve
watch anything
McKinnon.
else? Yeah, Steve McNiven.
I did finish Invincible. I really liked
Oh,
it.
did
The thing
you?
is, I did. I do really like the comic more. And what's a hard time for me is because the art in the show is so similar to the comic, I start to get them
Right.
confused. And because I flew through the comic so fast because it was so good, there's a lot I feel like that I've forgotten. Like somebody mentioned somebody from Invincible in one of our panels, and I was like, shit, I don't think I remember that
I
person.
somebody oh yeah, it was damn, I don't remember who it is, but I can tell you right now that I don't watch
Oh, and I
Invincible.
did
I
mention
don't.
Battle Beast in that the Battle Beast comic comes out in May. It's not out yet, but you can pre-order it now.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah, that's right,
whoever
that's right.
asked that is actually listening to this. There you go.
They are, yes. But,
Perfect.
it really was I'm glad you liked it. I just can't get into Invincible. I just can't. I don't know what's wrong with
I
me
still
because
think
everyone's
you
like,
should
"It's the
try
one
you
you
should
would
not
like."
try it. You
I
should still read
understand.
it because it
Oh,
is really freaking good.
we'll see.
It is still really good. And like this season, a lot of people were saying was the best season. I felt like it was on par with season 1 and 2. I
Fair.
do like that they're now at the point that Eve and Mark are together because they're like, ugh, they're such a good couple because they're not none of that toxic BS.
Right.
Like there's something tragic that happened to Mark in the comics, and I'm sure they will do that because we've already met the Viltrumite who that happens with. But the way they just like handled it was like just so emotionally healthy and grown up. And it's like they realize like we have bigger issues like saving multiple
Yeah.
planets and multiple aliens. It's like we don't need to be dwelling on this. We need to move on with our lives and handle it the best we can. And there are, kids at stake. I mean, I love Robert Kirkman's comics. He
Yeah.
likes happy endings and he doesn't like toxic bullshit.
That's fair. That's fair. I read, of course, Daredevil. I read Hyde Street issue 5, Mrs.
I need
Goodbody's
to read
back.
that.
We kind of get more about her and Mr. X-Ray's coming to team up with her. The artwork is still fantastic. Ghost Machine Image Comics. And then Absolute Green Lantern #1 came out. I liked it. Obviously, it's very a different take. We see Hal Jordan, you see John Stewart, Abin Sur. It's just interesting. I'm not fully sold yet, but I'm not sold yet. I'm just kind of okay. My interest is peaked. I'm ready to see what's going on. Al Ewing is writing it up, so it's gonna be interesting to see where it goes. Hal Jordan has like this black hole of a hand thing going on. I don't really know. So I don't want to say too much because I want people to kind of think about it for themselves. So let's go to some news real quick. Spider-Man Beyond, the Spider-Verse finally gets a release date, June 4th, 2027. We all thought it would be last year. April Fools. It's not. It is not until 2027. And
I'm
there's
surprised
also
they
another
made
Spider-Man
announcements on
movie.
April Fools.
Yeah. Spider-Man 4, Brand New Day is what it's going to be titled, July 31st.
Not brand new home.
Nope. 2026. So that's next year already. Okay. I can't wait for that. Well,
Yeah,
pretty
Tom
excited.
Holland still doesn't look like a grown up,
He
so
still doesn't. And he's going to be the first Spider-Man to get a 4th movie. So good for him.
yay.
And
Well,
he comes out
technically
after
Toby Maguire is.
no, his own movie. Tobey Maguire
Okay.
wasn't in his own movie. He
All
appeared.
right. But he's been
Anyway.
in 4 movies. Well, I guess actually Tom Holland's been in more than his own movies as Spider-Man. Okay, so Tom Holland's still winning.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now,
So
what's happening with some other winning that we're getting? I'm so tired of winning.
Dogma is coming back to theaters on June 5th. However, beforehand, Kevin Smith is traveling around the country to go to some theaters and doing a Q&A with the movie, and I am seeing it here in Orlando with Jessica.
You suck. You're welcome, because she said, "Who's going to see it with me?" And I said, "Lauren will."
She had already texted
No,
me. She
she
had already
didn't.
bought the tickets.
Nope. No, she didn't.
Okay.
Well, John Wick 5 is apparently happening.
Yeah, it's in development. That's what I've
I
seen. I have
Interesting.
not. I've only seen the first one.
I was
I
yeah.
liked the first one.
The movies are good, man. John Wick's good. You know what else is good? The
Revenge of
Revenge
the
of the
Sith.
Sith, and it comes out next in April this month, but tickets go on sale for it
You
April
were the
14th.
chosen
And
one.
I will be there with one of those nice little popcorn buckets. Don't mind me.
Which theater are you going to go to?
The one by my house, probably.
Well,
Regal.
is it AIM? Because one of them has a Darth Vader head,
Regal has the Darth Vader head.
and then AMC is the bucket.
Well, I want the head.
I want the head.
Give
Okay.
me the heads. I'm there with their heads.
So
That's
this
the
Coyote versus Acme movie apparently is happening. Somebody
Yes,
bought it.
Warner Brothers sold the rights, so it's finally going to happen. I heard it was really good. People or the test whatever is really good. And then there's another Kevin Smith cruise happening next year, February 18th to 26th. It leaves from Tampa. It goes to Costa Maya, Mexico. My wife has no interest in going, but I do. Damn it. Wonder if I can convince her. Probably not, but I'm going to try because we're going to go.
So another thing happening in 2026
All
is
right.
Invincible season 4 should be coming out. We don't know for sure if it's coming out, but it should be coming out.
Interesting. We'll see if that happens because The Boys season 5 is also halfway done with filming, and that should be coming out in 2020s. We're already talking about 2026. I'm kind of scared.
Well, I mean, we're 3 months done in 2025.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, speaking of The Boys, has a new movie on Shudder and AMC Plus. It's called Bloody Axe Wound. I'm in. I'll check it out. I'm not really sure.
It
We'll
looks
see.
like your cup of tea.
I probably would. And then Percy Jackson season 3 has been greenlit by Disney. No surprise there. Can't wait for season 2 to come out. What else? We got a couple more things. Why don't you wrap us up here with some news before we go into The Last of Us?
So, do we want to talk about the chairs? What
The
just happened?
chairs?
The chairs, the Marvel chairs.
Oh, I mean, eh. I was eh.
So a lot of people are coming back for Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday. Why is my phone like creating a video? I'm in favorites. I'm just trying to open this picture and it keeps like wanting to make a video. Stop making a video.
Yeah, the chairs. We got a 5-hour long presentation just to reveal who's in
Well, I
Doomsday.
have okay, so we have Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Tinoch, Hirota Mahia, that's Namor. Gosh, maybe I should just say the people. Thing, Shang-Chi, Lewis Pullman, who we haven't met yet, the new Falcon, Joseph Quinn, who's going to be Torch. We have Red Guardian, Loki, Xavier, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Gambit, Mr. Fantastic, Tony Stark. Well, no, not Tony Stark. Doctor Doom. Bucky, Letitia Wright, the new Black Panther.
Shuri.
Why am I blanking? Shuri, thank you. Ant-Man, Beast, Yelena,
Magneto. Professor
Ghost,
Xavier.
Winston Duke, what's his M'Baku, Cyclops, Rebecca Romaine, who is Mystique, and that's everybody.
My God, I thought we let the Fox X-Men die. Why do they keep bringing Professor Xavier back to be killed again? Ian McKellen, I didn't even know he was still alive. I'm going to be real with you. I thought he died.
I can't imagine him and Xavier.
I don't mean to put that juju on him because now if he dies, the people who
It's
listen
on
to the
your- it's
show
your
are going to
fault,
come
yeah.
after me. But I was like, oh, wait, he's still alive? You are still alive? They've been 90 years old forever.
People love being greeted like that.
I understand that people are excited for this, but oh my God, can we just be done so we can get our MCU X-Men who aren't 50,000 years old, except for James Marsden. And I'm really excited for James Marsden, Cyclops. And you got to know Hugh Jackman's coming back. And because they said that there's more people
Yeah, they
that are
hinted that
being
there
announced.
Robert Downey Jr. is like, is that it? And
Oh my
Marvel's
God,
like,
I heard
there's
that we're
always
in this
room for
movie,
more.
actually. Did you know that
We're
we've been
in
cast
this
as well?
movie?
We are. We are in this
That'd
movie.
be fun.
Yeah, that was just such a lame announcement. All right, it was lame. It was
But yet
boring.
it got millions of people.
Of course
to
it did.
stare at chairs.
Of course it did. I wish I could
I like
sniff.
logged on. I'm like, this is it.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought it
can't
was going
watch
to be the
chairs.
people. I thought they were bringing people out. Was
It
Chris
was a
Hemsworth
chair.
even there? It was literally just a chair. It was
It
never
was just chairs.
never Chris Hemsworth. Okay, why don't you wrap up the news since I
All
just
right.
very
Happy Gilmore
crappily
2
said
comes
all
out
those
on
names.
Netflix July 25th. I didn't watch the trailer. Don't want to watch the trailer. Dead
I
City
watched it.
season 1 is on Netflix. Ted Lasso is getting season 4. And then Dexter Original Sin has been renewed for season 2. That's all for the news. Let's go into what we came here to do. And that is talk about The Last of Us season 1. We are going to recap it and we will be right back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Just like we said we would. We are talking The Last of Us. Spoilers ahoy. If you haven't seen it, we're going to talk about the show, not the video game. Now, starting with episode 1, this is called When You Were Lost in Darkness. 1968, an old TV spot talking about viruses and a global pandemic. A doctor warns us that fungus is what we should fear because fungus wants to control, and some can get in your mind. Fungus keeps its hosts alive. 2003, life is normal. Joel is eating breakfast with his daughter, and his brother walks in. They manage to avoid bread.
Yeah.
That's right, they do, because it was in
Because
the
remember they're
flour.
eating eggs because and
Yes,
they're like, "What about pancakes? We didn't
that's
make
right.
pancakes." And he's supposed to get a
That's
birthday
right.
cake because it's her
I was
birthday, and
very
that ends up not
confused for a second. I
happening.
was like, you did through me. Anyways, the world starts to turn. Joel's
They're
daughter
on
actually
what's the
dies.
diet where you don't eat bread?
That's
No
right,
carbs.
gluten-free, baby.
Atkins diet.
2023. There are curfews in place. There's a Firefly insurrection going on. We meet Marlene, the Firefly leader. Ellie and Joel meet. He protects her, and then we see that she scans as infected. Yes, the opening sequence of the show, as far as the escape and everything that happens from the house, is pretty much scene for scene what happens in the video game. And it's really good. It was high stakes, intense. His daughter gets shot. And it was also weird seeing 2003 again because we lived it. So it was weird. What'd you feel? How'd you feel? I want to know from somebody who like did not know what was happening or knew what was coming.
Oh,
What
you're
did
saying
you
it was
feel?
weird seeing 2003 in
Yeah,
the
it's just weird
video game
because
again, or like
no, just
2003
seeing
in
2003
general?
in general because
I mean, 2003
we're
didn't look that much different other than people didn't have
oh
iPhones.
yeah, well that's true. I don't know. This
But
just I
everybody
get
had cell
nostalgic.
phones. We had internet. We had Google.
Ah, that's true.
We
The
had
glory
Super
days.
no, we didn't have Supernatural. That was 2005.
Nope, we didn't. But no, what were your thoughts about the his daughter died right off the bat, and it was very crazy way to start the series. So what was going through your head?
It definitely was, but I kind of knew she was going to die because I saw all these posters with him and this other girl that looked like they were about the same age in that regard. So it's like they're
Yeah,
not going to have him just abandon his daughter and build this
no.
relationship. So I kind of figured that was what was going to happen. Keep in mind too, I mean, this show came out 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, that's a good point because she was never marketed and Ellie was, but she's immune essentially. And so we're trying to figure out like what the heck is going on. We're in the city of Boston at this point, which is always funny to me because a lot of the scenes, especially as we go into, episode 2, we're not in Boston, folks. You're not going through a museum and coming out. There's no mountains near Boston. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It's just always funny to me because I grew up there. And to see some of those scenes that they try to play off, and I'm just
We do that
eye
all the
rolling.
time. They're
But
always trying to make
I will tell
California
you,
Florida.
they got it right as far as some of the intense. I guess we'll go into episode 2. So why don't you take us away with episode 2? Because that's when they more of make their breakout.
So, episode 2, Infected. So, we're in Indonesia in 2003. So, we start with another flashback. We go more into the origin of the fungus. It's cordyceps, which should not be able to survive on humans. But in the 1968 TV interview, they did say that if the fungus needed to adapt to higher temperatures, it could be possible. So, global warming is what sparked this. Otherwise, humans were
Great.
too hot for it.
We're
As the
cooked.
professor examines a dead body that was bit, there is still live fungus in her mouth. And she even like starts to pull it out and then she like drops it and freaks out. And it turns out it started at a flour and grain factory. Now back to present day, Joel and his girlfriend Tess learn that Ellie had been bitten but never turned. And they figure she must be the key to a cure. So they have to get her to a specific hospital where they are trying to create a cure. Unfortunately, in this endeavor, Tess gets bit and tells Joel to get Ellie out of a very infested place and save her. Since Tess knows she's already a goner, she torches the place from the inside so that they can escape.
Dun dun
Dun dun
dun.
dun.
Yeah, that's a little close to home, man. I'd rather we not die from a fungus because these things are gnarly. They're worse than zombies. It's gross. Ew, I don't want to turn into a giant mushroom. I
I
don't
don't
even
even like
like
to eat
mushrooms.
mushrooms.
That's what I said. I don't even like mushrooms. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Again, a lot of this is very, very familiar territory. She might be the cure, so they have to get her going. And it was kind of sad in a way because we lose Tess right off the bat again. And now we get this father-daughter bonding experience that we go off into episode 3. So as Joel and Ellie continue on, we learn some people were just straight up murdered to prevent a spread. Honestly, though, okay, so I don't hate the idea.
Whoa.
Okay, hold on.
I'm like,
All
how
right.
is this gonna go? Keep in mind, remember you see like the skeleton of like the mother and the baby, and then they switch it and you
Oh,
see
I
the
don't
mother
need
holding the
you.
baby.
I'm
Okay.
trying to phrase this in a
Continue.
way of kill
It's not like a burn where you like blow up a house to save the other houses.
kill I don't know, kill a bunch to save a few, but then it doesn't matter anyways, I
Oh,
guess.
crack a few eggs to make an omelet
Kill
kind
a
of
few to save
mindset.
a bunch,
I know some
maybe?
villains that have said that. Ultron,
Maybe
I don't
that
know if Thanos
I'm just
said that. I
saying
know a
if
lot of villains said
there's
it. Tony
if you
Stark
know
said
people
it.
are infected, I don't know. All right. Anyways, when they weren't infected. Oh, okay, so yeah.
They weren't
Anyways,
infected.
I know they weren't infected. I guess yeah, they were panicking. I don't know, man. Good thing I'm not president. Wolf. However, Bill Bill did not die. He was a prepper who never trusted the government. He hid in his well-supplied basement. Who is Nick Offerman, by the way, is Bill. When the New World Order jackboot screw ups show
That
up,
was a quote from him. Not
I
today,
know
you New World Order jackboot F words. We're trying not to curse as much.
we try
Shut
not to
up.
curse this much, okay? I'm sorry, we're trying. This saved his life. 4 years later, it is now 2007, and a non-infected person falls into one of Bill's traps. This is where we meet Frank in the most beautiful love story of all freaking time. Kicks off, okay? Until Frank gets sick, of course, and asks Bill to kill him, so Bill poisons them both with their wines together. Before they pass, they make friends and partners with Joel and Tess. Despite Bill's demands not to, Bill grows to trust Joel.
But
At
not
the
like
end,
him, but trust him.
no. Joel shows up looking for Bill and Frank, finds a note to them, and their bodies are upstairs. Bill gives Joel his codes, tells him to take everything he needs, they stock up and take a truck. Dude, this is one of the most beautiful episodes of television of all time. Like Nick Offerman, Doomsday Prepper. I love that he's going to Home Depot. He's Doomsday Prepping. It's this nice suburban neighborhood out there in Massachusetts. He's got the gates all around, and it's just
What an amazing
absolutely,
setup.
it really was. Like, it was so beautiful. And there's that shootout sequence, which was crazy, but imagine they lived a beautiful life, man, to be able to live out there for a good chunk of time. They were used to go on walks or runs. And as you see Frank get sicker and sicker, it was just very sad. And they played the
It
piano
was
and they
like
drank
up.
wine. And I guess it was beauty amongst all the tragedy. And if that's how I got to go out too, I'd rather poison myself with the person I love and die that way versus losing them in this world that's already tanked and having no real reason left to live, I guess.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a better take than I would kill everybody, but
I suppose. Yeah, I don't know.
would
It's
you
like,
continue? Would you go on or would you poison yourself with Josh?
I'd probably go on.
Damn, Josh, I'm sorry. First she was fat shaming you last week and now
I
Jesus.
would never. He would want
Josh,
me to go
you come
on.
to me and Josh are going to go doomsday prep and you
We
go
have
find
3
your own place.
kids. They're gonna need me to
But what
comfort
if
them
it's
when they
just the
lose
two
their
of you?
dad. Well, then I would definitely kill myself if I lost my kids.
I mean, I probably would have killed myself long before that too. Let's be honest. Okay, you're right. You're right. Anyways, if we had whatever, what did you think of this episode? It was beauty. It was
It
grace.
was
We're
beauty and
asking
a
all
kill.
of the wrong questions on
No,
this
I
episode.
loved this movie, and I think the moment when Bill was playing that song and Frank
Yeah,
asks, like, and he knows, like, these 2 people might have a connection here, and I think that Frank thought that I think Bill did too, that they were never gonna find love in this world because finding
yeah,
love in the apocalypse in general is gonna be difficult, but, like, for, these 2 middle-aged gay men, it's even more difficult, and Bill had never even been with a guy
we
yet,
found love in a hopeless
and
place.
so it was just so sweet to see, like, the tear in his eyes. Of course, since I have watched White Lotus and seen Frank
Oh
in
yeah,
a
that's right.
different
I
way.
totally forgot. Oh man, we saw some
And
other things from Frank. Maybe that was his previous life.
I think one of the things I loved was when this show came out too, or this episode came out, and Ellie's reading the note, and like Nick is like, "I'm sure this is you, Joel, because anybody else would have died in one of my traps." And he wrote like he, and somebody did a video where they played that, and then they cut to him in Parks and Rec where he's running away going he, and
I
I
do
must have
remember
watched
that.
that video like 5 times in a row. It
I
was
do
so freaking
remember that. It was
funny.
gold. I do remember that. Oh my god.
But no,
That
I
part.
so when I was doing this, because I didn't have time to watch everything, I was literally watching the episodes on fast forward, and I would get to the scenes, the parts, to refresh my recollection and write them
Oh, I
down.
was like, that took me
I
a second,
watched
yeah.
just about the whole Frank and Bill story again.
Well, that is vastly different in the game, actually. So the game, they don't die together like that. Bill finds Frank's body and they're trying to escape and things like that. And that's kind of how that goes down. So it was a much more
Did
pleasant
you know there's a
ending.
nod to Dean and Cass in Last of Us?
Is there? What is it? Is
Hold
it
on, I'm
when they
gonna
get
get
in
it
the
up.
truck and they start blasting Carry On My Wayward Son as they start driving down the highway?
No,
It never happened.
that never happened. There is a note. I'm gonna have to find it. There was a note or something, and it was like, and actually, I don't even think it's Sam and Dean or Cass and Dean. I think it's actually Jensen and Misha.
Oh, well, while you look that up, I'm going to go into episode 4, which is called Please Hold My Hand. Somebody does help, sends help to them, and it's a trap. Joel and
It's a
Ellie get
trap.
attacked, but fight back. And this is where we find a group of people that are after them now. And then we meet the cute little deaf kid at the end of the episode. Oh, man. So they find themselves in Kansas City, and it's basically a hellscape where there are groups of people now, there's factions, and they're essentially going under attack. They have their truck. The highways were all blocked off. They really had nowhere else to go. So they decided to go through Kansas City. Yes. We end up meeting a cute little deaf child. And that takes us really, because there isn't a whole lot that happens. There's some scenes where they're on the road traveling, Joel and Ellie, and they kind of have some discussions and talk, and they bond a little bit. So this one isn't a whole lot of action packed episode, but did you find it?
It did. So
Go
at
ahead.
some point they find a note and it says, "Can barely keep my head steady, but everyone on base needs to know. I got ambushed on my way to relieve Misha at the monorail lookout. One of the scars, I'd swear he looks just like our boy Gray. F word. I'm so lightheaded. Someone please put a bullet in that effing snake's face for me and tell Mish I'm sorry. I tried to hustle. Signed, Jensen."
Ah, beautiful.
I mean,
I
Jensen and
forgot about
Misha
that.
are
I think we
not
talked about that. Yeah.
common names.
Come
So,
on, we know exactly
yeah,
what that was. There was
you get a
no there come
little.
on, we know what that
Mhm.
was. So, why don't you take us now into episode 5, Endure and Survive.
Endure and survive. So we officially meet the cute little deaf boy. A group of people are screaming, "F you, Fedra," and brutally attacking Fedra agents. We see a young man with his little brother who is deaf, and he's deaf in real life too. This is a group of
Yes.
people who are anti Fedra but are going way too far. The older brother was just trying to get stuff to keep his brother safe. And so now the crazy group is after them. So anybody who needs medicine or anything and reaches out to Fedra, they're like hanging them. The brothers sneak
Yeah.
up on Ellie and Joel while trying to sleep. The brothers are Henry and Sam, and they're wanted by the same crazies, and they know that Joel and Ellie are wanted by them too, so they decide to team up. During a standoff with all these crazy people, Joel, Ellie, Henry, and Sam, they wake up a ton of zombies who then aggressively attack. They manage to escape, and Joel invites the brothers to actually join them on the hike. I thought that was so sweet. Like, if you guys want to come
Ooh.
along with us, and he's like, "Yeah, we'd really like that. Thank you." Unknown to Henry, though, Sam was bit during the standoff. He shows Ellie, who thinks she can help him. She actually cuts herself and bleeds into his wound, hoping that will prevent him from turning. Of course, though, he still turns. Henry is the one to actually put him down very quickly, and then he kills himself, which is super sad.
That was intense.
Yeah.
Literally intense. The first of all, the little boy, God, he
He
plays
did a great
such a
job,
great job. He is deaf. It was an awesome. Anytime you get like these child actors who do a really good job, man,
especially in a dark show.
yeah, it's so good. And this just Henry and Sam, it plays out pretty similar in the game, and they kind of you see Sam and who attacks Ellie, and the whole thing goes down. And that's when Henry really takes it on them, was going to kill Joel or whatever, and then ends up killing himself. And you're just left with this dude, because that's how the episode ends. And you're just sitting there,
He felt
what
like he
just
just failed
happened?
his brother. He had one
Well,
one
yeah, I
job.
mean, it was, how could you go on after something like that? Again, it's going back to the conversation that we just had. It's his little brother, the only person that he had to protect in this world, and he couldn't do it. And dude,
Yeah, I guess
it's
there is a correlation to Bill because Bill. I didn't even think of that. Bill even says in his letter to Joel, "Me and you are protectors. We're here to
yeah.
protect." He's like, "I protect Frank. You protect Tess." And this kid, because they were both young. I mean, he
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
a child, but he was very young,
Well,
and he
even more
lost
than
the
that,
person he needed to protect. Huh.
now it's Joel protecting Ellie. So
Right.
he kind of found he
But
has his
he
reason.
wasn't, yeah, by the end of the season, he had a new person to protect, but at first, it was just he had a mission. He didn't have
Oh
I mean, he
yeah.
even calls her cargo. He's like, "You're not family, you're cargo."
Exactly. He did not want to do any of this from the start, but kind of has no choice now. And so in episode 6 called Kin, we meet the super funny Native American couple in the mountains, who tells them to go the opposite way they're trying to go.
It's like, "How do we get here? You're gonna wanna go the other way."
After they keep going, they've become surrounded, and Joel starts to worry that they'll see that Ellie is infected and kill them. As they're escorted into these horse riding people's commune, Joel sees his brother for the very first time in a long time. As Joel gets to learn about Tommy's commune, Tommy learns it's communism.
It's
Tommy's
so
new
funny.
girlfriend warns Ellie to be careful. Tommy tells her Maria that told her Maria that they did some awful stuff to stay alive. Excuse me, sorry, I can talk. Before he came to the commune, Ellie learns about Joel's daughter. Yeah, this is where she kind of finds out, what happened. He had a daughter, he had a life. We finally meet Tommy, and there's a lot going on between Tom. They haven't seen each other, and for all they knew, he was dead. And from here, Joel tells Ellie to stay with Tommy. However, she then chooses Joel. They leave on a horse, where they then get attacked, and Joel gets stabbed. We end this episode off with him falling off of a horse and Ellie crying. Yeah,
Yep.
they should have never left, man. Should have stayed right there. Screw it. Sorry, because now they know where they're going. They're going to Utah, and man, y'all should have just stayed in the commune, dude. Stayed and chill with some communism. The world's lost at this point. Get some scientists in. Start doing your research there. I'm sorry.
Well, he still thinks they can find a cure, and if they can find a cure, that's good for everybody.
I get it. I know, but dang, man, you should have stayed. They had it good. That commune was dope. It's in.
Well, spoilers, they head back there.
They do. They do. So what happens
So
now?
Episode 7, Left Behind. Joel is not doing so hot. Joel tells Ellie to leave him. Of course, she does not abandon him. Instead, she stitches and takes care of him. And this is when we get some flashbacks to when Ellie was in the federal orphanage and her and Riley broke into a mall and had the best night ever.
They
Guys playing
did.
the arcade and everything. Riley tells Ellie that she's leaving. Ellie asks her not to. They end up kissing, and then a zombie shows up. They both get bit, but only Riley turns, of
Again,
course.
that's another strip from the video games. But of course, I mean, Ellie. I like this backstory too because it shows Ellie had a life too, man. I mean, everybody getting their lives, and everybody's uprooted in various ways. And the whole bit with Ellie, there were two kids having fun in a mall for once.
Mm-hmm.
This was after the whole zombie outbreak happened, and so they had some sort of semblance of a childhood again, playing in this mall. Just unfortunately doesn't end well, of course. And it goes even worse from there because in episode 8, when we are in need, we meet a new group of people, a religious one, who eat their dead and they are getting hungry. Although they're not really excited about eating their dead, and not everybody knows that they're making stew with the dead people.
They're like, what is this? It's venison.
Yeah, that's all they keep
Uh,
saying. I haven't seen deer. The deer, Ellie goes hunting while Joel is still recovering. Two dudes from the group find the deer she shot before she gets there. Ellie tells them that they can have half the deer for some medicine. They keep trying to bring her back to their group, where she runs off back to Joel, who is still out cold, and gives him the medicine they gave her. Ellie hears more from the group are back, and then they're actually looking for her. So she gives a mostly passed out Joel a knife, tries to hide him, and lure them away on the horse. Someone finds Joel, but he does manage to summon strength to kill him in an absolute gnarly. Again, they come to the basement, and Joel gets the strength and ends up killing the guy, and it was awesome. Heck yeah. Pedro Pascal, get him, get him, get him. The group has Ellie now locked in a cage, and they keep trying to get her to stay with them. Joel kidnaps a couple and gets info on how to get Ellie back. The preacher guy, oh yeah, it gets real creepy, and Ellie
creepy.
breaks his finger, and then she also bites him and tells him that he's infected because of her arm. So then she kills video game Joel and makes a run for it.
It was the guy who played
Yes,
Joel in the
yes.
video game.
That's right. He is in this. For a second there, your explanation, I was like, wait, what? But yes,
I know. I was like, why does Matt look confused? He played the
yeah,
video
I
game.
played it. Yeah, I was like, what? Joel finds the town, their dead horse, and some bodies hanging like some meat. Ellie runs out after fighting the creepy pedophile David. She's terrified. He comforts her, calling her baby girl. Yeah, so actually, this is a really good scene because she, not a good scene in like, hey, this
Oh, it's a
is
terrible scene,
heartfelt.
but it was a
It's
big scene. Yeah.
she's fighting him,
Emotional.
she's fighting back, and she's fighting for her life, and she now has to go to lengths to, because Joel this whole time has been protecting her. You stay here, I'm going to do the killing, you stay put. He does not want her to lose that innocence, so to speak. And now she, amongst the fire and the chaos with this entire, you know, commune of freaking cannibals, she kills the creepy preacher dude. And this is like her losing innocence almost in a way that was really good in a
Which I
just powerful
interesting
scene.
enough, and her losing innocence though is like Joel's. I feel like it's the first time he's viewing her as like a child rather than just
Oh, yeah.
cargo or an
Yeah.
annoying kid with a dad joke book.
Absolutely. And he really does finally see her as that human being, like you said, especially as he calls her baby girl. So that takes us into the finale now, which is episode 9.
Look for the light. So we kick off with Ellie's birth story. The mom got bit while in labor, and this is Ellie from the video game. So people were saying she gave Ellie life twice. I thought that was very cute. So the
I thought
baby
it was
comes
too.
out, and the baby seems fine. The umbilical cord got cut after the bite, but she tells her friend Marlene, who we met before, that she cut it before. Marlene has her doubts. You can see it in her face, but she takes the baby and gives her and before she takes the baby, though, the mom gives her a name. She says her name's Ellie, and she lays this knife on top of this infant and says, "Make sure you give her this." And we see the knife later. So Ellie is clearly traumatized after
Yeah.
Creepy David, and Joel is trying to talk with her. He's really trying to like be lighthearted, and she's just like zoned out. So they're getting close and they're looking around the city, and they happen to see a giraffe. They have a nice little moment that perks Ellie up. Then they have a heart to heart and they get ambushed and separated. Joel is knocked out. He wakes up to Marlene. She said, "Sorry,
Hey.
they didn't know it was you, but they're essentially safe right now." They made it. Of course, Joel asks about Ellie, and they say she's being prepped for surgery. They think the cordyceps in her is doesn't attack her because they think she is a cordyceps. So they want to remove it and replicate it for the cure. But then Joel says, "But cordyceps grows in the brain." And Marlene's like, "Well, she feels bad about killing Ellie, but she's still down for the cause to kill Ellie." Joel is not, so Marlene has him sent out and says to shoot him if he tries anything. Joel, of course, tries something,
We get our own
and he
hallway scene.
shoots the guys and goes to find Ellie. He then continues shooting his way to Ellie and follows a sign to a pediatric surgery, which I feel like that's such like, oh, they're literally going to intentionally
Kill a
kill this
child.
child.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he gets there and she's unconscious, but she hasn't been cut yet. He straight up just shoots the doctor because the doctor's like, "Hold on, he's just done. Okay, you're done." Like unhook her to the other people in there. He scoops up an unconscious Ellie and he leaves. Marlene stops him in the parking garage, so Joel kills her, but not before she says Ellie would have chose to save others. And he can tell, you can see it in his face. He's like, "Yeah, she would have chosen that, but I'm
She's
not
like
going to
my
let her choose that."
daughter now, and I'm not losing another child.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Marlene promised her mom, and she's like, "Yes, I understand. I probably was there when she was born. I promised her mom I'd keep her safe." Well, you're doing a terrible job, Marlene.
You
So,
haven't seen her since birth, and now you're trying to kill her. Yes.
cut to, well, she's seen her since
I
birth,
know.
but
I know. I was
yeah.
just saying now you're trying. Yeah.
Cut to Joel driving, and Ellie wakes up in the back seat. He lies to her. He said that there were multiple people who were immune and they couldn't make it work, so they stopped looking for a cure. And she's like, "Well, where are my clothes?" And he said, "Well, raiders attacked the hospital. We got out of there in the nick of time." Then we see Ellie and Joel hiking, of course, after they ran out of gas, and they're heading to Tommy's commune. And Joel's talking about Sarah to her, which I think was very healing for him and for her. And Ellie asks Joel, "Is everything that you said true? Do you swear?" And he swears. She doesn't seem to buy it, but literally the last thing we see her do or whatever is say, "Okay."
Yeah. It's powerful, really powerful, and it is. I feel like they went too hastily trying to kill her. They could have taken some blood maybe and tested her blood a little bit. I feel again. I don't. They just went from zero to kill her right away to see how it affected. I don't think they went about it the right way. I think zero to kill her right away.
I
I
mean, they
don't
could have been
think they
doing
would have solved
research on
anything.
other. Yeah, it was kind of abrupt how quickly they found it, but I'm sure they've done research on. And I wouldn't be surprised if they've chopped open people's brains that were
I mean, they might have. You're right. We don't really fully know. I just let's
maybe
slow
newly
down.
infected. I don't
You
know.
finally found out somebody who's not infected. So why don't we pump the brakes and test her a little bit before we go straight to all right, let's kill her. Because what if you mess up and that's the only person you've ever found that was, you know,
Yeah.
immune. So
It's, what's interesting is in the Walking Dead season, Daryl
I was
Dixon show, there's
yeah.
a similar situation, and they don't know if the kid's immune, but they want to test him, and it's like, and then like Daryl, of course, stops it, and they're like, "Of course he's going to be immune. This was God's whatever," because the woman died, and then they performed a C-section and pulled the baby out, and the baby was healthy. but
Right.
she had already turned. She turned while she was in
Oh, I
labor,
see what I see what you're saying.
and then they quickly cut her open and took the baby out Game of Thrones style. But yeah, actually, I think
Yeah.
they had to tie her down. I think she had already turned. I don't. Yeah. Oof.
Either way, still they should have. There's so many more things. This scene and everything played just like the video game as well, and it sets you up with this. There's going to be a rift between the two of them because it's only a matter of time before Ellie finds out, I'm sure. And now they're on their way back to Tommy. And how do they explain like what is the whole dynamic now between them? We'll see this weekend as it goes. I can't say anything more because I don't want to spoil anything,
And I appreciate that.
but I cannot wait. Do you have any other thoughts before we wrap up this recap of The Last of Us?
No, but going through this, I was getting sucked in, so now I'm more excited for
I
season
know I
2.
am wicked pumped. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 years, but I guess it does feel like it's been a long time at the same time. And I guess we'll see what happens. I think that's maybe there's going to be a third season. I can't remember
Last
off the top of my head,
time
but
we had Mandalorian and Last of Us overlapping.
yeah, now we got Andor and The Last of Us overlapping. So thank you, Star Wars,
It's
to
only
help
one Pedro
us.
Pascal. But
That's
yeah.
true. Well, we're getting the movie next year, at least,
Yeah.
allegedly. So
2026, big year for stuff.
big year. I can't believe we're in 2026. My God. And if you can't believe it, we can't either. And so go ahead and like, subscribe, share, follow to Hops Geek News again. Turn on those notification button and let us know what you think about The Last of Us, about anything that we do. And if we ever mess up on stuff, jump in our comments, DMs, whatever it may be. Just let us know. We like to be held accountable. And until next time, everybody, we will see you. Cheers.